In this WrestleTalk news, a WWE executive is gone from WWE, why Stephanie McMahon left WWE, and Tempest review of SmackDown.
Support WrestleTalk!
The backstage shakeup in WWE continues as yet another WWE executive is gone from the company. It was reported just over a week ago that more office cuts were coming in the company, with 2 more prominent names leaving just a few days beforehand, and that being Vice President of Communication Adam Hopkins and Stephanie Fiondella. And now we can add the name Matthew Drew to the list. According to PWI insiders, Drew worked as WWE's head of international since June 2021, meaning his responsibility was to grow WWE's brand and business outside the United States. This seems like a pretty big loss for the company, considering Matthew Drew, a sale is more than likely on the horizon before long. However, trimming of departments and cost is to be expected ahead of the sale. One other notable executive that stepped down recently amongst all the chaos backstage in WWE is Stephanie McMahon, who was the co-CEO at the time with Nick Khan. This comes right off the back of her father Vince returning to the company and her telling the rest of the WWE roster, "It's totally fine, guys. Nothing to worry about." Now, don't mind me. I'm just packing my suitcase and my bag, but don't worry, everything is fine. The Wrestling Observer newsletter is reporting why pro-Stephanie people within the WWE believe she stepped down, with the report claiming that those people think Stephanie believed she would be demoted upon her father's return. She had already made a decision to have a leave of absence anyway, and she didn't need a job or the money, which honestly, fair enough. You do you. And in continuation of wrestling going nuts with legalities and litigations lately, MLW have sent a cease and desist to WWE to stop contacting their contracted talent. Leave me alone! I'm under contract! This comes from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, who report that MLW sent the cease and desist after WWE attempted to contact contracted MLW to appear on Raw 30. It's just the latest in various legal battles and back and forths between WWE and MLW, with a lawsuit being filed in January 2022 against the E for reportedly undermining MLW's media negotiations and attempting to monopolize the industry. And finally, we could talk about some regular old wrestling news. It's the Royal Rumble today, guys, the most rumbleful time of the year. And while the men's Rumble this year is shaping up to be an interesting one for sure, there hasn't been much time given to the build for the women's Rumble. And we might not be seeing one of the larger women stars WWE have on their payroll in the Rumble either, as the Wrestling Observer newsletter points out that as of the time of writing, Ronda Rousey was not booked to be in the Rumble. The reason given for this was reportedly because WWE didn't want to marginalize her star power by being just someone in the match, since she wasn't going to win it or be the focal point. Yeah, Royal Rumbles have never gotten anyone over by putting in good performances without winning. That's never happened, guys. Now, hot tag to Tempest.
It's Royal Rumble weekend, we're gonna have such a good time. Gonna beat that nasty Luke and take my belt back, yeah. I'm Tempest, and this is my review of SmackDown in about 5 minutes. We kick off the last SmackDown before the Royal Rumble with a rogue Sami Zayn catching Jey Uso on his way into the building, and while Jey tells Sami that he can't be there tonight, Sami tells Jey that he had to tell him that after what he did for Sami on Raw, anything that Jey ever needs, Sami's got him. We then got our first match of the evening as I take on Sullivan Bo Brown. Thank you, Adam, for that very flattering tweet. Rey Mysterio and Karrion Kross finally try to settle their beef, and I don't know if I've just given up on Karrion Kross, but I'm just happier to see Rey Mysterio be given a clean win here. The one nitpick I do have is that I wish WWE would stop having the heel cut off the babyface during a commercial. If a match is a story, you shouldn't have the turning point of the story happening during an ad break. Mysterio's able to tie Kross up with a crucifix and get the pin, giving him all the momentum he needs to be kicked in the dick by his tall son tonight. 3 out of 5. Damage Control announced their entry into the Royal Rumble. Come on, Bayley, my pick to win the Rumble. Win me that championship. We then get our obligatory everyone says they're going to win the Royal Rumble segment as Austin Theory says says he's gonna win the Rumble, and then the New Day say that when one of them wins the Rumble, they all win the Rumble. Then we got a rare SmackDown appearance from The Miz, who is easily the worst part of this segment. Miz tells Theory that he's been in Royal Rumble matches since before Theory hit puberty, to which Theory rightly pointed out that that just means The Miz is old, to which Miz tried to claim it just meant he was older, wiser, and better than Theory will ever be, before completely losing his train of thought and laughing in the middle of his very serious promo. Cheers, Mike. Please go back to Raw so I can avoid reviewing any of your lousy promos again. Thanks. Miz and Theory brawl with the New Day until we get Bobby Lashley clearing house and announcing his intention to win the Royal Rumble, only for a surprise Brock Lesnar appearance, F5ing Lashley and announcing his entry into the Rumble match. Outside of The Miz being about as useful as a poopy-flavored lollipop, this was a pretty standard segment, made all the more better by a nice surprise appearance from everyone's favorite WWE cowboy. 3 out of 5. Rhea Ripley tells us she's going to win the Royal Rumble match, and she might not be lying. Then we had Lacey Evans. Now listen, I have not tried particularly hard to hide my dislike for Lacey Evans on these reviews, but I do try to separate the performance from the horrifically insensitive and stupid shit she has posted on social media. However, when the first thing we see from this newly repackaged version of Lacey Evans is her going and taunting someone with Down syndrome, it gets a little bit harder for me to remain unbiased. Match was too. When Michael Cole describes your match as slow and methodical, it probably just means you're boring. She wins with the Cobra Clutch. Get -5 stars. Kayla Braxton interviews Drew McIntyre, who appears to be precisely twice Kayla's size, and Sheamus, as they both say they think the other will win the Royal Rumble. They chop each other, and I have to think that whenever this team hits their breaking point, these chops and everything are going to naturally turn into a real fight, which is a fun thing to look out for. Kayla reminds them they have to face Hit Row. The Banger Bros then made their entrance. What? They're not called the Banger Bros anymore? Why? They didn't know about the Bang Bros? I thought that was the whole f***ing joke. Anyway, Drew and Sheamus get attacked during their entrance by the Viking Raiders, who crush both of them against the barricades. Hit Row is then informed that Drew and Sheamus have voluntarily given up their spot in the tournament, which doesn't seem right to me considering Sheamus really wanted another shot at the Usos, but Adam Pearce won't just declare Hit Row the winners by forfeit. They have to face a replacement team of Ricochet and Braun Strowman. Nothing screams WWE commentary like Wade Barrett very accurately pointing out that it isn't fair that Hit Row couldn't get a bye into the final, but Ricochet and Braun Strowman can get a bye into the semifinal. To which Michael Cole asks him why he has to bring logic into this. Why can't he just have fun? Why is the heel commentator the one who's making sense? The actual match was pretty standard. Ricochet got the shine before B-Fab grabbed his leg, allowing Ashante the Adonis to cut Ricochet off with a dropkick. There was a brief bit of heat, although I was mostly distracted in this match by Michael Cole just roasting Top Dollar. Strowman eventually makes the hot tag, and as Ricochet hits a dive to the outside onto Top Dollar, Strowman hit the Monster Bomb for the win. Braun and Ricochet into the final. This tournament is weird. Match really wasn't much. 2 out of 5. The Usos try to interrupt Kevin Owens during an interview, and Adam Pearce ejects them from the building, but on their way out, Jay gets on the phone and asks for a favor, to which Michael Cole said he must be talking to Sammy. Bad night for WWE commentary, man. LA Knight comes out to the old Bray Wyatt music with a tiny little campfire lantern. The fucking lantern just took me out here, man. He has to win at the Rumble. LA Knight actually cuts a very snappy promo saying the torn up Bray Wyatt outfit is Bray's future, and when the lights go black, Bray isn't coming back. Bray then interrupts Knight in his rocking chair and says that when the lights go out at the Rumble, Knight will finally go face to face with the man he has been looking for. Also, Uncle Howdy is hanging out in a skybox or something. Solid promo though. Hope the match isn't stupid. 3 out of 5. Imperium then takes on Legado del Fantasma in the second semifinal match of this tag tournament, and while I don't think LDF has turned babyface as a faction, they certainly played the roles of the babyface in this match, and they did that very well. Joaquin Wilde was pulling off some very fun offense, including a top rope Hurricane Rana. However, Giovanni Vinci was able to hit a top rope press slam to put Wilde down, and he and Ludwig Kaiser hit the Imperium Bomb for the win. Another very solid match with some fun dynamics this was. 3 out of 5. They show Sonya Deville interrupting Charlotte's interview with Ryan Satin, and Charlotte tells Adam Pearce she'll give Sonya a title match just to end this. They'll go one-on-one next week. We then had our main event of Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa. These two started with a shoulder block battle, and it really is fun to me to see once again just how different Solo Sikoa's in-ring style is compared to the other members of the Bloodline. Not only is he more power-oriented than the Usos, but a lot more vicious as well, as he drove KO into the barricade. Owens got a lot of offense in, hitting a frog splash and a swanton, but as he went for the win, who should break up the pin but Sami Zayn? Sami Zayn disobeying Roman's direct orders to make it up to Jay. Ooh, that's spicy. Solo accidentally superkicks Sami and tries to put Owens through the announce table, but KO hits the pop-up powerbomb and takes Solo out with a chair before throwing the chair at Sami's feet and yelling at Roman that he's bringing everything he's got at the Rumble. The Sami stuff is still the most interesting part of the show by far, but it does bring me great joy that they are protecting Solo as much as they are. That man does not lose. 4 out of 5. Overall, this was a very missable go-home show for the Royal Rumble. I know this is becoming a theme of SmackDown, but the only bits you need to go out of your way to see are the Bloodline bits. This show did its job fine, but there's not much you'll remember from this one. 3 out of 5. And that just about wraps things up from me. We'll be back with our full podcast review of SmackDown later today, as well as our live coverage of tonight's Royal Rumble Premium Live event over on the WrestleTalk podcast channel. But until then, if you want to see how Adam Blompier thinks the Royal Rumble should go down, make sure you check out his latest fantasy booking video over on Parts Fun Known, where he books the 2023 Royal Rumble match. You can also see next month's fantasy booking video right now by subscribing at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. It's on Aleister Black's WWE run. That's fun. You should watch that. Until tonight, if it's your birthday today, happy friggin' birthday to you. I've been Tempest, and that was wrestling.
His first Royal Rumble. Ooh, Paul. But what would January be without me sticking my oar in and saying how I think the Rumble should go? And hey, I can confidently say...